Welcome to Rauta's Black Metal Review. This time it's a band from Norway that is of the newer school. However, this band called Avertia isn't exactly very new. I mean, they have been going on for 15 years now, even though this is my first time with the band. And this is third album called, I'll read it so I can do a little bit of pronunciation. Nordavinden, kaster, kniver. It probably went horribly wrong, but it's something like how the northern winds casts or throws knives. That's actually translated here, but I didn't want to do it properly how the actual official translation is done. Now let's go with the CD. This one came with the book or booklet, rather more than the usual one, with the CD jewel case. And it features some 50 minutes of music, the Norwegian style. This is a rather curious thing. First of all, this comes on a rather unknown label, Norwegian Dark Arts, which seems to be, I guess, one of the band guys, or the main band guy's own label, because there's only other band which was released under this label. Curiously enough, this is still NDA 001, but it seems like this other band, Lightning something, I already forgot the name, was to first be released under this name, but didn't find any kind of catalog number for that one. But this band mostly is about this one person who I think was originally in contact with me regarding this release. So thank you very much for the CD and the booklet, and also getting this letter to accompany and give me a little bit of insight what's going on here. So he is the man, Kristoffer Jorg Nøstdal, the composer of the Norwegian black metal band Avertia. And as you can see, this is an English appendix to the album, which is here to give you a little bit of insight what's going on. Well, nicely done, to be honest. I would say these kind of booklets are pretty cool to have with the album, because what you have here, obviously the lighting is gonna just screw me here, but this is giving you a little bit of background information regarding the band, but also the lyrics both in Norwegian and English. So you have here, for example, the pages like this. So you have first the Norwegian lyrics, and then you have these also in English, and then you have some interesting pieces of art and a few photographies to go with the album and the band, and you can have all this information about the album. I would say if the world was perfect, every album would come with such a booklet, such a piece of information regarding what was going on in the head of the artist, because this is almost like reading a mini interview of the band. Technically it's not an interview, but you get the idea. It's, the background information. It's more than just, promo sheet. You're like, hey, we did our best album and blah, 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 which are usually rather boring. I mean, it's sales talk for the retailers to get the points of like, this is for fans of this and that and blah, blah, blah. But to be honest, reading this kind of commentary, and I was really a skeptic about it, it's explaining what was going on. Like, this is about depression and fighting the battle and all that stuff, living another day once again. And then as a result, creating this album, also giving a little bit of background information, like what is his day job and stuff like that, how certain riffs or songs got done, watching a certain movie and suddenly this melody starts playing in your head and all that stuff. So I would say in a perfect world, every album would have this kind of a booklet. Maybe with worst albums you wouldn't even read it, but at least you would know more than what you can when you're just listening an album on YouTube or Spotify. And this is the reason, my friends, why physical copies are still so excellent compared to what you can only hear in streams. You only get to listen to that music, and obviously that's the most important thing when it comes to music and releases, albums alike. But if you want to dig a little bit deeper, and you can't always find that information on bands' Facebook pages or home sites, home pages, and Instagram and all that stuff, because it's more about glorifying, like, hey, this is us on the stage, or this is us, you know, in the rehearsal room, and blah, blah, blah. But these kind of stories are something that really kind of make it more worthwhile experience. So I want to give this band a kudos. I want to give respect to this band for making such a version of it. So thank you. But now it's time to talk about music and give you a little bit background while I'll tell you a little bit more about this album while I guide you to the band's Melodic Norse site. So as you can see, this band was founded in Bergen, Norway. And Bergen is one of those cities in Norway which has a home for a few black metal bands. Obviously, it's not the same as Oslo, the capital city, but Bergen is still nevertheless one of the bigger places, I guess, for Norwegian bands. So this band came out in 2006, but it took a few years before demo and then EP came to be. And 10 years later, only the first album was out. And these two albums I haven't even heard of, so I can really compare what was the band like some 5 years ago. But Nordavinden kaster kniver is the album that we're talking about now, and it features some 10 tracks, 50 minutes. And it's kind of a very, very Norwegian type. I mean, you can pretty much clear bands like Tåke with the music. I mean, there's certain kind of Norwegian feeling, even though this is a little bit more uplifting, kind of a happy-go, positive album in so many ways, which you probably wouldn't figure out if you was only reading the book. Also, this reminds me, because of these melodies, a band called Winder, also from Norway, and now, well, defunct for obvious reasons. And because of these two bands, not to mention other parts, this definitely has some strong Norwegian vibe. But there he is, like the band member himself wrote with the piece of paper that came with the album, that there are some classic heavy metal things you can pretty much hear. He mentioned Iron Maiden, and I don't think it's too far-fetched. I mean, every now and then when I get this kind of a promotional sheet from a band or label and they start dropping names, it feels like, okay, this is just to advertise the idea, but it's not very truthful, or at least I'm experiencing the album in a very, very different ways than how the band or label are experiencing it. But this time I feel like things click, because first and most, Tåke is something that comes to my mind, and secondly, those melodies somewhat remind me not only Winder but also Iron Maiden, so there's definitely kind of a heavy metal feeling with it. Now, the band also drops Darkthrone as a name, but that is something I really can't relate to. But, well, once again, these are personal associations and feelings what you get from an album. Now, melody-wise, this is gonna be a kind of a tricky pony, because the thing here is, I'm not too happy about kind of a happy-go melodic music, you know, it's kind of uplifting mood stuff. I'm more about darker or more brutal or violent stuff. And when this goes too happy, I'm more like, okay, not for me. But then again, I also found this album quite likable throughout the 50 minutes. Maybe it's a little bit too much, and I would have probably edited some 10-15 minutes away from the overall length, because now it feels like it's too much, and not in a killer sense, but more in a filler sense. But mostly it's quite a good album. It has a rather nice production, not too good, but I mean, it does the trick. And the vocals are pretty good. I mean, there is certain kind of raspiness which really speaks to me anyway. So people who like Norwegian style of melodic black metal will, I think, like this Avertia album quite a bit. I mean, it's nicely done, nicely executed, even though it's not necessarily anything new as such. Give it a go. It's out on April 1st, and trust me, this is no April Fool's kind of a joke. So this album is supposed to be out then, but it's already out on digital format. So you can obviously just click the links in the description box and start listening to the album right away. And in case you want the physical version, well, then click and add it to your shopping basket. And that's it. I hope you enjoy it.